Okay, I think we can start as if my co-host up ako, no? Let me just share my screen. Then let's go. As if my co-host up ako, no? Uh, all right. Okay. So let me just test if everything is complete. Oops. Okay. All right. Hi guys. Good evening, good morning, whenever you're watching this. So this is our asynchronous review session for IE 143 LE1. As you guys know, it's quite a tough LE, so hopefully this can be of help as per usual. So let's just get straight into it. But before that, just a few thank yous. Thank you to the person who refuses to be named na, but they lent their past exam, which we were able to use to recreate this. It also came with all the complete answers na. Although that kind of gives it away, kung sino yan na. All right. And thank you also to the Acadres team for encoding this. Okay, let's go. Problem one. So lots of text. But essentially, the real problem starts here. Bangladesh, a bank is interested in studying total time it takes for a customer to receive and enter their OTP. So Z is a random variable describing the total time it takes for a customer to finish the OTP process, meaning they receive and enter their OTP in seconds. Assume that the reception of OTP and entering of OTP are independent steps. So the MGF of the random variable is as given, and then as given, and then we have three sub items. So the first thing that I want you guys to observe is um it says independent steps and it brings up two independent steps. So this means na right off the bat the first clue that we have is that there are two processes here, meaning na this is a convolution of two random variables. So the first is the reception of the OTP. Just highlight that. And the second part is the entering of the OTP. So these are independent steps, meaning this is these two steps by the property of convolution is some MYS referring to one moment and MXS referring to another moment. Okay, so that's all the information we have so far before the questions. Um, let's go straight into it. What probability distribution describes the random variable Z? If any, what is slash R its parameter values? So the first thing that we want to, so basically this tests given moment, I given ano to? Sorry, MGF. So given MGF, find distrib. So for these types of items, what is most important is your pattern recognition. So given this formula sheet, which was last year's formula sheet, presumably also this year's formula sheet, but please, I guess clarify with your instructors if hindi pa window like of consultation ban. So from this, just looking at it, I think MGF. Okay, there MGFs. So the top term seems a bit very far off from all the common ones, but the bottom term, I can surmise now. Oh, look, it has an S, sa baba, and it's a single term. The only term na ganyan without any e's or anything is the the uniform continuous distribution. So I have a hypothesis that it potentially might be that. Wait, okay, let's just move this down here. Sorry, I have to screenshot it manually. Okay, there we go. Okay, cool. So, my hypothesis is that this is a uniform continuous. So, let's try to force it to look like that. Right off the bat, makikita natin. Uh, I believe, wait lang. This is supposed to be 4s minus 1. I'll just have the team correct that later. I know, not sorry. Sorry sa confusion. Yan. Um, yeah. So this is our essentially yung MGF. So I guess the first thing we could do is try to expand it muna or try to simplify it. Maybe makakuha tayo ng form na medyo familiar. So E, 8 raised to S, E to the 4s minus 1 times E to the 4s minus 1 all over 16s squared. Okay. Still not familiar to any of our terms here, but what I can do is, so ito kasi tinitignan ko. Dapat kasi yung for continuous uniform should be two E terms. So yung one is causing us a bit of a problem. So let's figure out how we can convert this one into an E. So what I'm gonna do is try to bring in yung E to the 8s. Let's see if that changes anything. So now we have E. So review lang your properties of exponents. This becomes 12s minus E to the 8s. And then this becomes E to the 4s. And then we're gonna do something medyo cheeky. Recall na yung basic mathematical properties. E raised to 0 is equal to 1. So meaning we can convert 1 in terms of E. So what that looks like is that you have E raised to 0s over 16s squared. Now, before I write down yung bottom term, I want you to observe the property ng exponent sa uniform continuous and yung coefficient of S. So this is actually quite good for us because if you guys look at this, 12 minus 8, 4. 4 minus 0, also 4. This means na perfect tong si 16 because then we can break it up into 2. So we now know that whatever b minus a is has to be equal to 4 for both terms, right? So we can have 4 here. Now, and this is where we get rid of s squared, or not really get rid, but reformat it to something that we can use. Yung needed dito, s to the first, oh shit, sorry. Yung needed doon is s to the first power lang. So, but if obviously you can distribute s squared to be s times s, right? So magiging 4s, 4s to. So, what we end up with essentially, lipat ko lang dito. What we end up with essentially is this becomes E 12s minus E 8s. So what I'm doing here is I'm just separating them. Pero I think this will make it much clearer. Sorry. E to the 0s over 4s. Okay, so yan na yan. Now, going back to our property of convolution, for any given convolution of two or more random variables, they are just products of, so the MGF of a convolution is just the product of the MGFs of the variables being convoluted, if that makes sense. So like basically, kung may convolution ka of two variables, yung MGF niya is just the MGF of the variables concerned. The reason why that's important is, I want you guys to compare yung itsura niya dito. This is effectively your my, and this is effectively your mx, s, in terms of s, function of s siya. So this means na this is a convolution of two uniform continuous. So, so meaning we know, therefore, two unifcont. Okay. Yeah. And then recall from convolutions, from our convolution table, that this is just a triangular distribution. I'm not sure if they're going to allow non-identical ones in the long exam. Pero kasi, I'll just show this later. But basta just take note of that. This is triangular. So that's the answer to this question. What probability distribution does a random variable z have? It is uh, triangular. And then next step, what are its parameters? So going back here, this 2 unit continuous equals triangular. And then so for the first one, for you have uniform. Wait, no, sige, wait lang. You have uniform. Its B is 12 and its A is 8. So you have 8, 12 plus uniform 0, 4. This is equal to triangular. Uh, okay, this is the part. Now I think I'm not sure actually if this will still show up in this way. But I guess if we're, this is slightly, I guess, outside the bounds, assuming na, kasi sinabi sa, at least, okay, so I'm under Sir Drix Lorenzo, and sabi niya, di daw lalabas yung non-identical. Um, so I'm not sure how we'll deal with this. Pero, I guess this is also useful naman. Take both the ends, so 8 plus 0, that's just 8. So that's the bottom. The middle, I don't know what to do if magkaiba siya. Pero in this case, it's the same. So 12 plus 0 is 12. 8 plus 4 is also 12. So we are fine there. I'll just look it up siguro, what to do if in that. And then 12 plus 4, 16. So that's our answer for number 1. It's a triangular distribution with parameters 8, 12, 16 as yung vertices of the triangle. So that's number 1, part 1. Number 1, part 2. Currently, this accepted standard time, okay, for a customer to go through the OTP process is 10 seconds. Compute the probability that a customer will finish the OTP process within 2 seconds of the standard time. So, just checking if we have other information na hindi na include. Okay, so I guess we can just, for this case, always better to clarify. But I guess we can assume that the variable of concern is second, so this is already in seconds. But it's, doesn't hurt to ask in the exam. Pero let's, in this case, assume that it is the case. So, within 2 seconds of the standard time, meaning, yung pinapahanap sa atin is 10 seconds plus minus 2. So, that means we're looking for the probability that x, z, kasi convoluted variable siya, just for convention purposes, is from 8, wait lang, sorry, 10, within 2 seconds, okay, tama. 8 to 12. Okay. Wait, what? Within 2 seconds of a standard time. Okay. Okay, I think this is another. Just checking my notes, sorry. Okay. Another error to. Sorry. Pagbigyan nyo na guys, last minute to ginawa ng Acad Resources team. So, still very thankful for their work. But it was incorrect yung nakopya nila. The original standard time was 13 seconds as per the question. So, meaning, yung hinahanap natin is 11 to 15. Okay. Yeah. All right. So then, what we're going to do next is it asks for the probability that the customer will finish the OTP process within 2 seconds of the standard time. So this is where it's important to recall. Parang you guys have to have some familiarity, or actually a really good familiarity of like for the special distributions, special functions, how to derive how to use them to generate probabilities. Obviously, like that's like the largest chunk of what this exam is. So the reason why I'm saying that is because, especially in case for triangular, we use a method involving calculating the area to find it. So medyo crash course na rin to on triangular distribution. So going back to our nahanap natin na distribution and parameters. Triangular distribution with vertices 8, 12, 16. meaning the symmetric triangle, which again, they promise na yun lang yung lalabas sa exam, but let's see. Yan. Okay, cool. Hindi siya symmetric, guys. Sorry. It's 12, 16, and 8. Cool. So, sabi, the area of interest that we have is 11 to 15, meaning ito. Let me just fill that in. Okay, cool. Right. What we want to do is find the probability of that. So first, setting up lang what the height of the triangle is, because to get the area, we need to first get the height. As per convention in class, we want to get the parang half of the base to be same as the height, because then that would mean our solving for the area would be much simpler. So finding h, finding the best h, I guess, because it's arbitrary. This is just 16 minus 8. That's 8 divided by 2. That's 4. So h is equal to 4. Find best age. So just 6. Sige na. So it's just easy to follow, for people who will be using the PDF. As in the PDF file lang. Alright. So that's what we're going to use as h, because then that would allow us to just do base times height over 2 relatively quickly. It makes it just easier. So height is 4. Given that the area of the triangle, the arbitrary triangle that we set is just base times height, 4 times 8 over 2. This is just 16. It is not. Is it 60? Okay, sorry. Goodness. Ba't ako nagdududa? Wait, what? 4 times 8. Okay, cool. Wait lang. Just double check. Yeah, area 16. So, next, what we're gonna do is essentially find the area from 11 to 15. Now, because this is a weird looking triangle, not really a triangle actually, itong figure na to, mukha siyang trapezoid, di ba? No, it's a pentagon, sorry. 5 sides. Pero, sorry, tangent. Essentially, mahirap siya hanapin yung area. So what we're gonna do is do the opposite. We'll just take 1, which is, the the sample space, minus the parts that are not included. So essentially, mangyayari, it's the whole triangle minus this, minus this. So yun yung gagawin natin. So now, that gives us 1 minus, and when you're getting the probability, any probability is just the area of the triangle, the small chunk of the triangle over the whole triangle. So, it's a slight shortcut ko na lang. Feel free to just replay it for the sake of um, preserving my voice also, because I'm doing this in one take. So this is 3 times 3, 9 over 2. So magkakaroon ka ng 9 over 2 over 16, which is just this area over here. And then this area is just 1 times 1 over 2, meaning you have 1/2 over 16. Okay. Simplifying this, this is just 9 over 32 minus 1 over 32, 10 over 32. So this is just 1 minus 10 over 32, which is equal to 22 over 32, 11 over 16. So that's your answer. 11 over 16, since baka convention in the exam to use like 4 decimal places as per department standards. Let's just write it down, 0.6875. And that's your final answer. As for part B. For part C naman, Bangladesh would like to impose a new standard time such that a customer will finish the OTP process earlier than the new standard time 95% of the time. What is the value of W? Okay, so going back to our triangle, essentially, yung pinapahanap dito is, sorry, wait. Hala. Sorry guys, my iPad is acting up now. It's a bit old. Wait. Okay. All right. So Essentially, yung pinapahanap dito is the case we want to find a time that the customer will finish the OTP process earlier than the new standard time, 95% of the time. What is the value of W? So the first thing na I want to just point out is that even though it says earlier than the new standard time, we can always just look for the standard time itself. The reason for that is when for continuous distributions, okay, this is slightly like nitpicky lang, pero para hindi kayo mag-overthink during the exam. For continuous distributions, um, P of x at any x, sorry, P of big X equals small x is equal to 0. Basically, any point equals 0. Therefore, it follows na P uh, x less than A is equal to P x less than or equal to A. Yeah. So just a small reminder for that. 95% of the time. Okay, so meaning, naghanap tayo ng point, because it's 95% of the time, there's the whole distribution of possible serving time. So again, this is 8, 12, 16. There's some point here, just from intuition, it's between 12 and 16 because it's 95%, right? Meaning, um, any, like let's say if you took 9 seconds, which is roughly around here, you're faster than 16. 12, you're faster than 16. So it's probably somewhere greater than 12 in standard time. Just for, kasi kung abot ng person dito yung bagong standard time, abot ng person dito. So ano, 162 crossover, designing for the extremes. Anyway, so dito naman, call that. Okay. We want na we find 95, basically we want an area that makes this whole ass area 95%. So you want this to be 95%. Going back to our technique that we used here, which is na we always just cut it where convenient. This implies na if the whole triangle is 100%, this is 5%. Right? So meaning, let's just list down the information that we have. The first is we want 95%. We want the point on the somewhere between 8 and 16 that yields 95% on the left-hand side. And this implies na we want to find the length that causes 5%. 5% on the right-hand side. The second piece of information that we have is, going back to when we solved this, the area, right? Area total, which is 16. The third piece of information that we have is the height, right? Which is 4. Height equals 4. And given that base is equal to half of the height, meaning na this is always going to be just base times height. Okay. But more importantly, that this can be basically just base times base over 2, right? Kasi 1 yung slope. And it means na whatever the length of the base is, like whatever the length of this hypothetical triangle is, same din yung height niya. Because we set up the arbitrary triangle in that way to make it very convenient. Meaning, essentially what we want is we want to find a base that leads to base times height over 2 equal to 5% of 16. Doing some simplification, 16. Grabe, 16 over 20 kinalculator. Sorry. 0.8 yung right-hand side. As we've discussed, because we made it convenient for ourselves, base is equal to height here. So we can just make this base squared. Equals 0.8. This one. Let's check my solution. And therefore, base squared is just equal to square root of 0.8. Simplifying this further, just so it looks cleaner, this basically gives us 8 over 10. 2/4. 2/4. Yeah. Okay. Ay, sorry. Base over 2 pala to, over 2. So we have 2 over 5. Eh, yeah. Yep. That's our base. Because we have a calculator, baka ipapa-decimal places, roughly equal to 1.2649. Um, and then, yung pinapahanap is the new standard time. So we know na this thing, the base is roughly 1.2 away. I just want to test that first. Okay, tama naman. So, essentially, we only found the distance from from the tip, which is 16. So we know that the length of this, say copy paste ko na lang again for just better flow for the people using this in PDF. Okay. So we know that the distance between these 2 points is roughly, let's just use the exact value, 2 times 2 square root of 2/5. Meaning what we will now find next is essentially where this time is. So we know na this point we can find relative to 16 because we know it's the base of this new triangle is 2 times square root of 2/5 units away from 16. So meaning is a 16 minus 2, 2 over 5, square root of 2 over 5. Uh, Getting that, we get yung raw value, just so it's easy to cross-validate sa calc, is this. Very funny number, but that's roughly 14.7351, again, following the department convention on decimal places, 4 decimal places. And that's it. So that's essentially the answer for C. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, nag-ano pala ako. Hindi ko pala na-mark na this is C. Yeah. Okay, sorry, medyo magulo. But I'm doing this in one take. Okay, that's for number 1. Um, Let me just check the total time I have spent kasi, okay, I have to cut this into parts because I don't have Zoom Premium. So that's the first part. See you in the second part.